knowledge without power. Now, this is something that I had trouble trying to tell Raj. I didn't tell Raj, but I basically told Raj that because he was homeless for basically the wrong reason, but he still had materials, he still had a girl, he still had multiple shit going for him, and literally what he would do is he would dive into depths that I would dive into that I would never start a conversation with because I know there's gonna be no feedback. And he kept on telling me how black and Asians are related. I know that's completely true because if you look at the statues, they're kind of similar, and their days is similar to some of them. And I don't even tell him. I look at Raj when he's trying to tell me this shit, and I try to tell Raj, and I'm like, dude, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is why you're homeless. You're putting emphasis, even though you're 100% right. What's the whole point of people aren't gonna back up your statement? You're outnumbered, even though you're not wrong. I learned that by not mentioning stuff that I would get reactions from other people to specific people that are literally just there to waste time with. I know the difference between people that you can trust through thick and thin and people that you can literally have to trust for the moment because you have to stay with them for the moment because it's literally humanly impossible not to be social. And I learned that from Arturo. Do I want to hang out with him when it's at my expense? Hell no. But as soon as I became this Instagram celebrity, I literally started hanging out with Arturo just because I couldn't have no more friends because I finally realized they're faking and I'm actually getting it. And it literally pissed me off that Rod still does this shit. He still does his research about racism, knowing that nobody's gonna back it up in a conversation. And the whole problem and why I think you should not chase knowledge without power. You should chase knowledge, but it just puts you in a whole bunch of difficult situations. You know, when you work for people dumber than you, that literally pisses you off, but you gotta deal with it. And I know a lot of people have to do with that. And the reason why I learned that the hard way is because I know what the difference between a beta and an alpha is. And you can be alpha all you want. You can be all this self-esteem all you want. You can have this and that. But if people disagree with you, even though you know you get results, you need to just shut up and just let them play themselves. That's the only way you deal with somebody who's trying to deny the truth. If the truth is the truth, it can't be covered up by a lie. No matter how hard you lie, no matter how hard this and that, the truth will eventually leak out. Karma exists, and the real reason why you don't want to chase knowledge without power is because you don't want to talk smack to the teacher that's in charge of giving you an A. You can call out a company for having missed service, but are you going to have money in order to sue them? Are you going to think that you can get an employee fired just because you said something right? Just because you talked to a manager when you know damn well that they're running on low supplies and low spaces, that they need these people even if they're fucking up at their job? They need desperate people like that in order to fill those shitty jobs. They can fuck you over all they want, but you can't call it out because you're going to think that you can get him fired. Then you're going to see him the next day like, why are you still working here? Because he's pathetic and they don't want someone who's smart like you who asks questions working here. So instead of actually giving them power, you have to sit back and realize that you have no power in this situation, but you have the right to not agree with them. And so when you keep a positive mindset, it may not happen automatically, but you will get the results in the end. So it's like you have to hold back what you want to say in order for when the time is right. I feel like it's a very stupid misconception that no matter how right you are, no matter how much research you're doing, you can always be proven wrong by somebody who's just going to agree with the next person. And I learned that that's due to bribery, that's due to something like there was this time where I fought Arturo and I slapped him one time and he talked to my other friend and he tried to convince that friend that he won the fight. When the boxer that trained both of us literally was telling Arturo to shut the fuck up and that Eris is a grown-ass man, that he doesn't have to deal with your shit talking. I put two and two together. I'm like, Arturo probably smoked enough in order to get that rumor out. Doesn't matter how right you are. It doesn't matter this and that. You have to be aware of the situation you're in. It doesn't matter if you call a gangster out on being a gangster. That gangster has the power. Even though you got him caught up, he has connections on top of connections on top of connections. Our nerd told me not to snitch. You have to learn that power is more important than words, and that, like the whole stupid shit with Lisa and shit, literally, everybody proved her wrong. Everybody told the truth over and over again, but because she has people outweighing them with more drive, everybody who told her to fuck off was already established with her family, and because she knows the complex situation between my families, she can always prove me wrong on paper, but she can never prove me wrong in real life, because if that was the truth, it's not like I can not go down the street and pick up a girl like we're finna snap, which was the whole point. And they're trying to say that I misjudged something when I carefully evaluated the situation because of the end result. But because of the whole fucking scheme, because the whole fucking conditioning over and over again, shoving the message in my face, is where I finally almost fucking believed it, and to the point where I knew how girls worked at that point. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you call it out. If you literally prove them wrong right then and there, like how a random hot girl can literally text a random guy to give her validation, like with his snap, then you can't prove them wrong right then and there. Because what's going to happen is they're going to generate a plan to back up their statement, even though they know they're wrong. Because they have more connections to do so, and you don't. All you have is something that doesn't move on paper. Oh, I do my research and stuff like that. You're doing something with something that doesn't move. They're moving. They're advancing. They're doing everything. They might not be advancing in the way that you think of, but they're actually going places and they're doing shit. They may be getting in trouble. They may be doing this and that, but they're getting to know their environment more, which is way more powerful than just knowledge standing in the same spot. That's just like saying, oh, no, Eris is cool and stuff like that. They can always use the argument, no, he has autism on paper. No, he did this and that in the past on paper. No, he had history on paper. Do not argue with people who are going to take chunks out of the situation and have everybody else fill the void. Just for you to feel alone because you're the only one who wants to be smart, that doesn't want to sacrifice the fact that you have to play dumb in order for people to leave you alone. Let them think they're right. Let them think this and that. Let them get away with covering up the truth for material things. Because at the end of the day, that's going to make you a stronger person, and things will pan out, but you have, I repeat, you have to pay attention to why their lies always leads them to regret, and why the only reason why they get out is because they want them to keep on being in denial, because when they're in denial is when they can manipulate you. Me, when I was slightly in denial is when I couldn't be manipulated, is when they had to shove this shit down my throat. You have to literally keep that foundation of good, literally. Even though people don't agree with you, you can't literally advertise what you know to people. You gotta play dumb, you gotta do this and that just to get by. Now, a lot of people shouldn't be in that position, but you have to pull the me and Seymour. Seymour literally stated at the time, you gave up on life, you're not going to school, you're not going to work, you expected too much out of college, you did this and that. And literally, all you had to do was let them come to you like me, this and that, ha ha ha. Yeah, the results on the outside are good. And of course, you sound good on paper. Somebody like a teenager who hasn't seen the full life, seen that text message, they're obviously saying Seymour has some hard ass shit. Oh, you're weak for trying to commit suicide. I can't prove Seymour wrong right then and there because he is right. I'm not going to school. I'm not doing this and that. I did give up, but one thing he's leaving out is the fact that I've been trying hard ever since I was a kid, and he can back up that statement saying, well, Mr. Pleasure told you to stop trying. Disregarding all the other factors that I'm black. Disregarding all the other factors that I have to try and he doesn't. There was no way I could prove Seymour wrong on paper because of my rigorous suicide attempts. No way I could prove him wrong on paper, but guess what? I knew I was right because, literally, every assumption comes with logic. And when you stay by your belief, when you know you're right, that's why I won the bet, because I saw how things played out, and there was no way I could prove him wrong on paper, but once those 4 years came up, oh yeah, I was literally sending a girl that went to his school that had a job. I talked to her at the restaurant. I told her, tell Seymour I said hi. If you know you're right, the truth will leak out. But you arguing with people in power is never going to fix the situation. It's never gonna make you look good. You would do better lying with charisma than telling the truth in front of a bunch of people who are always in denial but have constant validation.